Up and Adam, kiddos. It is the back half of June. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen here on a Monday morning, getting you up, getting you going fresh off a really fun, really exciting sports weekend. Preston Thorne, from NBA Finals on Friday night to NHL Finals, Stanley Cup on Saturday night to a full weekend of the U.S. Open, which might have some hot takes.
Okay.
Might have some hot takes.
Okay.
I told you this was an event that I was really excited about.
And then?
I'm not sure I got what I wanted.
Okay.
All right. I don't know.
You didn't want a fringe player only barely winning, eking out one shot over par? That's not what you wanted?
I liked all of that except the fringe player.
Ah, okay. Well,
I feel like I got everything I want, only to come down the stairs and see a lump of coal.
When I saw JJ's, I could hear you. I saw JJ Spawn, and I was like, okay, never heard of him, but that's fine. And then I immediately went to, how do people stay eligible for the PGA Tour? Because this guy has not done well. He's been, if the fringiest of fringe players, but yes, he pulled it out for one day and got it done.
We will get into that a little bit this morning. NBA Finals tonight.
Thorne.
Oh, boy. Oh, good. Game 5 tonight.
Thorne.
We did. I think we did call it. It was a must-win. I can't remember your exact prediction, but I said the Thunder would win. I've called the last two. Take credit when you can get credit, when we can call stuff correctly, and I did manage to get those two games 3 and games 4 correct. But game 5 tonight, we'll talk about that. Stanley Cup, again, has been a lot of fun. Panthers and Oilers for a phenomenal series right now in that. That's been a lot of fun. But the big thing of the weekend, Miss Jen, if we're ready, what is our most important thing of the day? Let's get into it. College World Series, Preston, and Coastal Carolina is rolling right now, knocking off Arizona on Friday. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then yesterday, demolishing I'm gonna overplay it, but demolishing Oregon State 6-2 last night to get into, I don't know what you want to call it, I almost want to say like the regional championship round before you go to the actual championship round. But whatever it is, Oregon State and Louisville, they'll play each other in an elimination game to decide who has to beat Coastal Carolina twice.
Yeah, they're firmly in the driver's seat. And I don't know if demolishing is the word, but the game was never really in question. Right?
3-0 right off of the
jumped out early. The game wasn't ever in question. They had control of the game. And then if there were a few moments where if you were a Coastal fan and you might have been tensed up, defensive pitching came in and locked everything down. So, yeah, maybe not demolished, but definitely dominating performance of Oregon State.
Kevin Schnall's program right now sits one win away from a second appearance in the College World Series, if you will, having to win 2 games. On the other side of the bracket, I think it's been entertaining. I will say this. I think I'm into it because of Coastal Carolina more so than just the fact that the state of South Carolina has a team in it. But it's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been really good. Yesterday, I'm going to go to the other side of the bracket here in just a minute. But you look at what occurred yesterday, Louisville and Arizona. It looks like Arizona's got a chance to win that thing, and then they just absolutely collapsed. UCLA knocking off Murray State on Saturday. LSU rolling over Arkansas on Saturday, and we'll get UCLA and LSU tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Now, you said something. You said you're interested because it's Coastal and not just a team in South Carolina.
I had this conversation over the weekend.
I am not wanting to put words in your mouth, but you're saying if it was another team with an odd color, maybe a bright fluorescent neon color, you would not be as interested. Is that what you're saying?
Bright fluorescent neon.
Yeah. Same part of the crown box is teal. that their team that goes in that side.
Whatever you're saying, if it were garnet and black, I'd be involved.
Okay.
If it were other colors, yeah. I see what and you're exactly correct.
Okay.
You're 100% correct. And tonight, or this afternoon. Arkansas and Murray State will play. I'll kind of be interested to see, is this the end of the Murray State run at 2 o'clock today? And then UCLA, LSU tonight. That should be a pretty good one, too.
Here's why the internet lies. I saw a video, coach from Murray State. He's talking. We all got in there. We all get fooled by the internet all the time. Coach from Murray State is on the video, and he's like, yeah, I don't know where that part about me mowing my own lawn comes from. We definitely have a grounds crew that does it. And it's like, oh, okay, all right. The internet gets us again. It was a great story.
Doggone it.
It was a good feel-good story.
The internet gets us again.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I don't, that's not a thing. I was like, oh, man.
Well, at least he was honest about it and didn't just take the story and, hey.
That's probably because there was a couple grounds crew who were like, oh, you cut the grass, buddy?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. So the internet gets us again. But, the Murray State story is really cool. Those players have been really fun to watch in their press conferences. The gratitude and the way they've appreciated their time being there at the World Series has been really fun to watch. But obviously they are there to win, and they still have an opportunity.
Well, it's probably because they're getting perks that they never get.
Oh, for sure.
Like
per diem.
Let's just start with the simple one, right? Just per diem.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's saving up. That's where you get like $25 a day. But what you're actually doing is going to McDonald's and getting the 2 for $5 and splitting it with your roommate or something. And
yes.
All right, everybody, we just made $22.50 off of this. So really cool. But it's been a great College World Series, and Coastal Carolina rolling along again tonight. Arkansas and Murray State. That's, again, I keep saying tonight, but that'll be this afternoon, 2 o'clock. Tonight, UCLA and LSU. And then tomorrow afternoon, you'll have Oregon State and Louisville trying to advance to take on Coastal Carolina. And for those wondering, that game will be Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Wednesday at 2 o'clock is the next time Coastal will take the field, and that will give them an opportunity to advance to the College World Series, if you will, the final series, which will be a best of 3. And we'll continue to watch the other side of the bracket. I'm thinking right now, Preston, we're heading for a Coastal Carolina-Arkansas showdown. That would
be a lot of fun. Obviously, we know what side we would be on that side. And it gets me to thinking, is the College World Series the hardest tournament to win? Because this is very long. You have to win a lot of games. You have to do it over and over and over again.
The hardest, I would actually go with the NCAA basketball tournament.
Okay.
Just because it doesn't always work out this way, but it feels like you look at someone like Duke this year, it's hard. And you look at how that kind of fell apart. And, Florida wins it. Did we think Florida was the best team in the country going into the tournament?
No, I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying, kind of. I feel – but this would be a close second, I would feel. And maybe with the new college football playoff system, maybe now we start to – that's a great topic for later because of – I don't know. And maybe with the new college football playoff system, maybe that's becoming the hardest.
This just feels very long. Like, man, we got to win a lot.
It is. You're right about that. It is very long. Although you say that, I guess Coastal would win the same number of games, 5, that you would have to win. If you were to sweep through it, win these 3. They've already won 2. Win on Wednesday. And then if you sweep the championship series, that would be 5 victories, the equivalent of winning the but then again, that you got to go through a regional, a super regional, without getting tripped up. Ask Vanderbilt and Texas where they were this weekend.
That's true.
So, I mean, you might be onto something there. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. Also over the weekend, hey, when you've got a love affair with a sport, you don't just start ignoring it, right? When your team gets eliminated. And you paid attention to the United Football League Championship over the weekend?
Well, the DC Defenders put up a record performance on offense this weekend, but no, you are absolutely incorrect about that.
Well, I was trying to set you up for it, but okay.
Stallion down, Preston down. I'm out.
Stallion down, man down. All right. This is still going on over there? Correct. You guys are still playing us? We didn't just stop? All right, got
Correct.
it.
We have started the offseason already. Once we eliminated, we started the offseason. But, yeah, shout out to the DC Defenders. I believe the originators of the Snake Cup, they were the first ones to really, really get that one going a couple years ago. So, shout out to them.
So, for those wondering, yes, by the way, the Michigan Panthers and the D.C. Defenders, 58, the Michigan Panthers 34. 58-34. For those wondering also, for those of you addicts out there who are waking up this morning to check it, and just apparently because you overdid it on Saturday, because this game was actually played on Saturday, 52.5. The over-under in this game. DC handled that all by themselves, 58-34.
Yeah, record-breaking performance. Good for them.
All right, there you go. So there's your UFL, your United Football League championship game update. If you want to be a part of the program this morning, 803-404-6100. We will get back into Coastal Carolina. Our good buddy Kevin Schnall, as Preston is saying, the teal is real. We'll talk about that and get into some other things this morning. You're listening to the early game.
Hey, this is Preston Thorne from Midlands Landscaping and Lawns. And proud owner Paul Romenstein is proud to offer you an opportunity to get rid of those fire ants. For over 30 years, Midlands Landscaping and Lawns has been helping families enjoy their yards without worrying about fire ants. And right now, guess what? It's fire ant season. So if you've got mounds popping up in your lawn, hanging out around where your kids play or where your pets handle their business, give them a call. The treatment program is fast, effective, and safe for your family and pets. And best of all, is guaranteed to keep fire ants away for a full year. Don't wait until someone gets bit. Let's take care of those fire ants now before they take over your lawn. Midland Landscape and Lawn is your local trusted professionals. Leave it up to them. Don't worry about doing DIY. Visit midlandslandscape.com or give them a call at 803-356-8080. That's 803-356-8080.
Carolina. And, you make your own decisions as a coach. You go with your guys. Terry Rooney is a Paul Maneri guy. I'm not going to blame Paul Maneri for that. You go with your guys, right? Like,
Yeah, that's a tough spot.
The one time that maybe we'd say, well, that didn't work was when Will Muschamp was like, nope, Kurt Roper is my guy.
Yeah. Well, there is something to that. The whole coaching profession is about you have to be around people that you trust, people that you know, people that you're willing to work around. And because he brought his guy in, it may or may not be an indictment on what he thought about Matt Williams. It might just been the idea like me and Terry.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to blame Paul Maneri for that. It's easy to look back and say, well, you should have done that, should have done this. But it's kind of what I mean. Like, your guys are going to bring their people in that they believe in and they trust, and there's nothing wrong with Matt Williams. And look, kudos to Matt Williams. Look what he's done with the Coastal pitching staff. We'll talk with Jamie Bradford about this. Look at what he's done with, look at where Matt Williams is, and certainly Coastal benefited from that. But that, of all the things that we can blame Paul Maneri for, I'm not going to do that because he brought in his guy that he believes in. And for all we know, next year, South Carolina, by the way, getting more commitments over the weekend. But for all we know, next year, Terry Rooney's going to have, I hate to say, quote, unquote, his guys in. Because isn't that the big thing? Well, let him just get his guys in, but maybe Terry Rooney will get his guys in, and maybe next year South Carolina's pitching staff will be top half of the country or, one of the best in the country. Who knows? I don't know. But, yes, kudos to Matt Williams and what he's done there.
Yeah, you sent me on a path when you said Will Muschamp brought in Kurt Roper.
Yeah, that's a stinger, isn't it, on a Monday morning?
It sent me down a path, but also it sent me to another direct path. Anybody remember the name Marcus Satterfield?
We all do, yeah.
Okay.
Hadn't gone away yet.
That was a coach's guy.
Yeah, good point.
Happens.
Good point. So, yeah, that's the way it works. But let's stay way in the past on that because remember, Muschamp had the great quote, if I'd only put Kurt Roper in charge of the offense earlier at Florida, I'd still be there. There was some cringy quotes back then, wasn't there? 803-404-6100. Again, Coastal will play again Wednesday. Tonight, again, or this afternoon, you've got Murray State and Arkansas taking on each other late tonight. And I listen, you heard, if you just listened to me say it, I said I feel like we're on a collision course. I still feel like Arkansas somehow comes out of that bracket. Coastal and LSU, maybe. It does feel like Arkansas or LSU will be the team that comes out of that bracket. I'm still kind of going with Arkansas to run through the losers bracket, but we'll see. We'll get Jamie Bradford, who's been on Arkansas for most of the year. We'll get his take on that coming up in the next hour. 803-404-6100. Talking season, Preston Thorne. Talking season, and that means lists and rankings. And is this coach better than that coach? Well, Athlon Sports has put out a ranking for SEC coaches. Where did Shane Beamer rank when it was all said and done? Did he move up at all? Is this disputable? We'll get into that. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder and First Palmetto Bank, where let me tell you, just a few years ago, Jacob helped get a great interest rate, a great loan, a bunch of great things for me on my condo on Lake Murray, and he can do the exact same thing for you. You just need to give him a phone call. Get the process started. 803-719-1005. Whether you're looking to refinance, whether you're looking to build or buy a home this coming summer, Jacob Crowder is the man to call. And with First Palmetto Bank, who is locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands, what that means is Jacob has local decision makers for quick and precise underwriting. So if you're looking to do something now, you can get it done in a quick and timely fashion. But you got to make that phone call today. See what the interest rates are, see what products and plans are available for you, and take advantage of them. 803-719-1005. Let me repeat that. 803-719-1005. Call the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
Reedy O. Smith Road near Two Notch Road. That's the only accident we're reporting this morning, and we would love for that to be the only one that we do report today. Late day storms possible, and looking for a high today really of about 92. 93 tomorrow, 94 on Wednesday. The thing is, we're adding in the humidity, so it's going to start feeling a little advance of summer. So the feels like today will be 99, and heat index tomorrow and Wednesday more like 100. But starting off a little bit on the humid side, 73 at 107.5 The Game.
6:33 on your Monday morning. Get up and get going here. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, as we roll you into the back half of the month of June, getting one step closer to the start of college football season. 76 days away from South Carolina and Virginia Tech on August 31st, 3 o'clock over in Atlanta. And Preston, it is talking season, and this is about where we really hit the high point. We got a month to go until SEC Media Days, and that leads us into rankings, publications putting stuff out, hot seat conversation, and the always fun coaches' rankings that come out.
Rank them. I love it. Put them up, put them down, see where they are, see who's rising, who's falling, who's trending, who's cooling, stocks, buying, selling. Love it. All of it. Phil Steele's put the paperback hard copy publication out, so that is out there wandering in the world. It's a good time. This is perfect.
So Athlon Sports has put out their ranking now of the 16 SEC coaches, Preston. They have now gone ahead, got that out there. Okay, great. Here we go. And Shane Beamer moving up on the list. He is now 8th in the league. Now, that is better than 13th last year, right? That is better. All right, we take big steps. Let's start with these rankings here. And first, let's go with just Shane Beamer. Well, we'll get to all of them, but let's just go with Shane Beamer at number 8.
Shane Beamer at number 8, that's obviously better than, like you said, he was last year, improving that. But as I look up the list, I wonder how many people he would take over. I think he's clearly above everybody below him. The three below him directly, Mark Stoops, Billy Napier, Hugh Freeze. I think he's better than them at this point.
You left one out that I thought was interesting, but I'm in agreement with. Mike Elko at 9.
Yeah.
Elko, all right, let's go through the rankings real quick here. We'll just run through them real quick, and then we'll come back to this. Kirby Smart's at 1, Steve Sarkisian's 2, Brian Kelly's 3, Kalen DeBoer's 4, Lane Kiffin's 5, Josh Heupel is 6, Eli Drinkowitz is 7, Shane Beamer is 8, Mike Elko is, this is Athlon Sports, by the way, Athlon Sports. Beamer is 8, Mike Elko is 9, Mark Stoops is 10, Billy Napier is 11, Hugh Freeze is 12, Brent Venables 13, Sam Pittman at 14, Clark Lee at 15, and Jeff Levy at 16. So, again, you look at Shane Beamer, and let's just start with him. Probably a little difficult to rank him ahead of Drinkowitz, Heupel, Kiffin, DeBoer, Kelly, Sarkisian, and Smart, correct? If we're talking, and I think, by the way, one big question on this, and I'm interested before let's set our standards here. We're doing this based on career, are we doing this based on career, or are we doing this based on 1 year?
Well, we're doing this based on the most recent accomplishments in their career. So if you look at, that's my argument with Shane Beamer and Eli Drinkowitz. Overall, Eli is winning the series, but last year Shane Beamer won that particular game, and coming off of the season that the South Carolina had compared to what Missouri had, that one can go either way. But I think South Carolina might be on more of a trajectory going up. Those two are fine. Josh Heupel obviously had a great year last year with getting Tennessee to the playoffs. We'll see how that turns this year with their lack of a quarterback. So those are the two that are in his neighborhood. If you're looking directly, the two on top of him, the two below him. Josh Heupel, Eli Drinkowitz on top, right below Mike Elko, and I don't agree with Mark Stoops being there right now.
At 10.
Mm-hmm.
So then that would bring it to who would you put ahead of Mark Stoops when you look at the back half of that list?
Billy Napier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'll give you one. It gets a little lost in this, but based on what we saw, Clark Lee. When I saw this, I was a little surprised he was so far down the list. I got to be honest. If you are factoring in what each coach is working with, I would have Clark Lee a little probably ahead of Brent Venables, Hugh Freeze. I'd quite frankly have Clark Lee ahead of Mark Stoops, kind of based on what you're saying there.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. Obviously, I've always been a fan of Clark Lee and what he does and what he's been able to accomplish down there. So I'm definitely a fan of it. It looks like maybe they were adding in some of the record, but even last year they did some really good things last year.
Well, I think that's what I mean by, I take into account that he's at Vanderbilt. If you put Clark Lee at, say, at Kentucky, I think he's doing better than what Mark Stoops does. People forget Clark Lee and Vanderbilt 7-6 last year. Obviously, they were in a good position. They were 6-3 after beating Auburn, but they lost their last 3 games of the season: South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee. And look, if you're honest about it, South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee, 3 of the better teams in the SEC right there. But they then go and beat Georgia Tech and another coach outside of the conference that we like in Brent Key.
Yeah, he's doing a good job over there. But if you're looking at this list. Because this is really, really interesting because, yes, I know coaches are so busy and they're recruiting and they're only worried about their team. They don't pay attention to the outside noise. But looking at this list, who is the most upset that Shane Beamer is ahead of them?
Mark Stoops, Billy Napier.
No. Who's the most upset? Who looks at this list? Obviously, I know they don't look at lists and they're all 100% focused, and this is talking season, and they don't pay attention to the media. But if it were to slip in, who would be the most? Mark Stoops. He's PO'd.
Yeah.
He doesn't like this idea.
No, he doesn't.
Even though we stuffed him in a locker last year.
Done it.
And we've done it several times now.
Yeah. Got one thing, Shane Beamer's done a lot for this university. He's changed this football program from a boring, what do we want to call it, business-like program to fun, to entertaining, to exciting, to where people kind of love football again. So he puts on his stupid glasses and he dances around, and Mark Stoops hates that.
He did not like that at all.
Let's go through this list again for just a minute. Now let's go big picture on this. No questions asked, no issues here. Kirby Smart, number 1, right?
Sure.
Okay. Are you buying Steve Sarkisian as the second best coach? He moved up 1 spot in the 2024 rankings. He was number 3. He has switched places with Brian Kelly. Are you buying that?
I am buying that.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm buying that just yet, but all right. Because if that's the case, then we got to get, I think, if that's the case, I feel like we're doing this based on 1 year. I feel like based on 1 year. But again, Sark has gotten Texas into back-to-back playoffs, so I'm willing to go with that. Brian Kelly at 3, Kalen DeBoer at 4, and Lane Kiffin at 5. Are you okay with that? And this is interesting because this brings us back to a point that you've kind of questioned about Lane Kiffin.
Kalen DeBoer hasn't done it in the SEC.
That was one thing that stood out to me as well.
Kalen DeBoer has not done it in the SEC. I do think he's a good coach. He's won at several stops along the way. Last year, he was coming into obviously a difficult situation, filling in for the GOAT. I get that. However, he won't have Jalen Milroe this year, and I'm looking to see what he does without having that key part of his offense.
So, Lane Kiffin at 5. Now, you brought up, and I forget what game it was, the fact that Lane Kiffin was not very good against, I think, top 25 teams or teams. I forget the stats you had way back when. But I start to wonder, would you maybe have Josh Heupel ahead of Lane Kiffin? Does Lane Kiffin get ahead of Josh Heupel? We know what he did with Tennessee. If it's not for South Carolina in 2023, Josh Heupel and Tennessee maybe make the college football playoff that year. Obviously, they made it in the expanded college football playoff this past year. This is a question where you might conceivably, I don't think we like admitting this because Josh Heupel there's something about him I think we don't like.
He doesn't have a chin.
But, there's one of the things. It's conceivable that if you want to play that game, you move Josh Heupel up to 4 on this list ahead of Kalen DeBoer and Lane Kiffin.
I did not plan to do that when I was looking at this list, but I think you're right. There's by results, by actual things that have happened on the field, I think you're absolutely right on that. And if you were a Tennessee fan, you should absolutely be very happy with what Josh Heupel has produced on the field.
You want to get really controversial again, big picture. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, he got him into a national championship game.
You ready to do it?
Kalen DeBoer and Kalen DeBoer technically got Washington. Well, not technically. What am I saying? Kalen DeBoer got Washington into a national championship game. If you want to go by career results, you'd probably have those two guys still ahead of Josh Heupel. But I think the biggest thing on this list is Josh Heupel should be ahead of Lane Kiffin. And if you really want to go crazy on this, yes, Josh Heupel would be third in this league behind Smart and Sarkisian.
There you go.
This is where talking season. This is talking season. This is where we go with this.
So what you're saying is Josh Heupel above Brian Kelly and Kalen DeBoer.
I would be okay with that. If they'd have had this, I'd be like, you know what? I'm all on board.
Has Brian Kelly done it in the SEC yet?
No. He did. He's put him in the SEC championship game, and I think you got to give him credit for that. Josh Heupel, unless I'm wrong, has not been in the SEC championship game. I don't remember him being. So all right, I've talked myself into it. Smart, Sarkisian. I'm going to keep Kelly at 3 and Heupel's 4.
Over your boy.
Yeah. Last year was disappointment.
It was.
Last year was a disappointment. Let him down. 803-404-6100. Close out the hour when we come back. Talk a little bit about what's happening in Omaha, not on the field, but across the street in the bar, the Jello Shot Challenge. We'll tell you about that. You're listening to the early game.
Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will take care of it for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
6:49 as we roll along on a Monday morning, June the 16th. Hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day, got up and got going, maybe did some grilling, maybe went out on the lake or had a nice afternoon with the family. Maybe Preston Thorne, a bunch of fathers just did what they wanted to do as a father and did a bunch of Jell-O shots with the family. Okay, no, that didn't happen? All right, that's all right. Not what they did out in Omaha.
Yeah, apparently they've been going pretty strong out in Omaha, and this has been a thing that has started as the lure of the Jell-O shot challenge and the bar Rocco's across the street. And I only just saw it happening. I didn't know how it started. So generally, this is clip number 2. Here is the owner of Rocco's talking about how the Jell-O shot challenge started. This is clip number 2.
The manager that was there before went to work for me, and they used to just make up different colored drinks in bottles for the different teams, and, kind of a fun thing to do. And I said, well, that's good, but it's a little time consuming. We're going to get a little busy here. Let's do Jell-O. It's easy. We put some Jell-O in containers and we put it up on the shelf and said, we'll have some fun with that. Well, Arkansas shows up, and there was a guy buying 50 shots at a time and tipping the bartenders $50. So they decided, hey, we're going to kind of keep track on a napkin how many this guy's bought. And so we knew at the end of that little run there that they had bought 860 shots, which I thought was crazy. And, it's like, what the heck? I never envisioned that much. And so the following year was the last year that they did the old format where you played all week long, and then they took Saturday and Sunday off. They didn't have any games. And then they played the championships Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I got all these people coming into town, all these Mississippi State people on Friday or Saturday and Sunday with nothing to do. So I made up a little flyer and I hung it in the bathroom and hung it on the front door. I said, hey, there's a Jell-O shot record, University of Arkansas, 860 shots. And these guys took off with it, and they ended up buying 2,000 shots, which I thought was just incredible. 2,000 shots in 3 days. I could have never imagined that. So the next year I made a little plaque and I put it up on the wall, and I told my wife, I said, hey, if we get lucky here and get the right teams in town, somebody might, try to drink 3,000 shots in 12 days. So very first day of the series, we get Arkansas back again, and they went into the party room the morning at 9 o'clock on the very first day, and in 3 hours they had drank 3,000 Jell-O shots. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. So and then it just so happens that right after they play, Mississippi plays. Well, Mississippi hates Mississippi State. Mississippi State has the record. Arkansas has already drank 3,000. Mississippi State in 3 hours drinks 4,500. Now I got an issue. I'm out of Jell-O, and this thing's just exploded.
And, Jell-O is pretty cheap. So, like, their overhead on all this, obviously the alcohol, but he's a very smart man.
Very good businessman. I mean, from the changing the vessel, from the drinks to the Jell-O to putting up the flyer, that's what that man is a successful businessman.
But that's the funny part about business is, like, he watched the evolution of this, and he kept growing. Like, hey, I think this is like, it wasn't like something he really just thought of. It's like every year it evolved a little bit more. To the point now, and I forget, do we have anywhere on what charity this is going? Because I believe this also...
Yeah, so what they do is, and I forget the exact numbers, but what they do is a percentage of the money, I believe 50 cents for every shot goes to a local food bank for the team, and then $1.50 of each shot goes to the Omaha food bank. And so they split it like that, and obviously the bar
and it just makes it,
theirs.
A multiple thong or prong thong. Hello. That's a whole different contest.
That's after 3,000 Jell-O shots.
Yeah. If you do, what did he say? He said 3,000 in that morning for Arkansas. Yeah.
A lot of prongs to this to make it a really good thing and fun.
Yeah, and so when you look at the numbers, the first year Arkansas had 860 shots, and this is sort of how.
No. I think I misunderstood that. I think he said the first year that one guy had 860 shots, not Arkansas.
Right.
The singular guy buying 50 shots at a time and tipping $50 single-handedly, because they kept on a napkin, is what he said. One single guy single-handedly bought 860 shots.
Right. So you go from 860 to the next year 2,000, then the next year 3,000
in the morning.
However, and this is why sports are wonderful, because nothing exceeds like success. Once you figure out, it's like the 4-minute mile. Once you figure out that somebody can do it, everybody breaks through. Currently today, right now, LSU is on top of the leaderboard with 12,000 Jell-O shots.
Good gravy.
Mind you, there's still a lot of ball left to play.
Woo.
Now, LSU also won last year with 68,000 Jell-O shots. There's a little bit of foolery that went on with that. I did some investigation on that. But right now, LSU leads with 12,000 Jello shots. The Murray State folks putting up a very good fight at 6,000. Arkansas at 5,000. Coastal a little disappointing at 3,000. I thought Coastal might be a little bit stronger in the Jello shot because obviously they're built and bred for it. But I do understand why Murray State, why they're getting all their Jello shots in, because they're like, we're never going to be here again. So they are. So the leaderboard right now is LSU at 12,000, Murray State at 6,000, Arkansas at 5,000, Coastal right outside the top four.
I don't think Coastal is a Jello shot town.
No, just kind of beachy, chill, loving the atmosphere. They're into it. Yeah.
I don't feel like pina coladas. They would have a pina colada. They would be winning that in a
Pina
runaway.
colada shots. Okay.
Yeah.
803-404-6100. Hour 2 on the way. We'll talk more College World Series with Jamie Bradford. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Zero Rest Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Summer is here. You're enjoying it. Preston and I have been talking about the teachers and how they're probably fully into the summer month now and relaxed and enjoying everything going on. And that means not having to clean your home. Let's be honest, that's not what you want to be doing this summer. You want to be relaxing, hanging out by the pool, watching TV with the kids, and just having an overall great time. But if you're having to clean the carpets, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery, you're not enjoying your summer. But Zero Res is there with a great summer sale. You just need to pick up the phone and give them a phone call. 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 15% off all cleaning surfaces. That's right, whether it's your carpets, your air ducts, your area rugs, or more. Call Zero Res today and have the professionals with their ZR water technology come out to the home and keep it nice and clean. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 15% off all cleaning services. 803-262-4020. Book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards and forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Reedy O. Smith Road near Two Notch Road. Still working that earlier tie-up. Other traffic issues, not really seeing many, and fabulous for your Monday. Maybe a late-date storm today, high of 92. Tomorrow, mixed clouds and sun, 93. Much of the same for Wednesday, 94. But the interesting part of all this is the humidity is going to be in there, which means going to be starting to talk about those feels-like conditions. The heat index 99 today and a heat index of 100 both tomorrow and Wednesday. So definitely we're in that season of hydration, so do be careful. And we're starting off the morning at 73 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Seven a.m. Get up and get going here on a June the 16th. That's right. Happy Father's Day. Happy day after Father's Day to all the fathers out there and the ones that even had to step in and play the role of father sometimes. So hope everybody had a great day yesterday. More importantly, Preston, I hope they had a better day than the Braves.
Well, it depends on who you ask for the Braves.
How do you strike out 15 and lose 10-1?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a record for that, but that is obviously that can never have happened before in Major League Baseball history, right? There's no, but also you're burying the lead here also because they struck out 15, they lost 10-1 to the Rockies.
Yeah, that's the other part of this.
I was going to rub it in, but yeah.
What?
There's no, I mean, here's the other part of this. Grant Holmes was phenomenal yesterday. If you didn't hear this, if you're unaware, Grant Holmes struck out 15 yesterday. He also did not give up a hit or a walk through 5 innings. But they were losing 1-0 because Grant Holmes had a fielding and throwing error, which
on him.
So
wasn't perfect, huh?
The Braves were tied 1-1 in the 6th, Preston. And then apparently they just decided 6 innings was enough on Father's Day. They wanted to get back to their children.
Well, here's a stat for you. Coastal Carolina is 42-0 when leading after 6 innings. The Braves might want to take some lessons from Coastal because that's pitiful. But obviously that is indicative of what has been going on all season for the team. That does not bode well for them.
No. But, yeah, the Braves yesterday, rough one. And, yes, you had to – Braves have won back-to-back series. Milwaukee last week, and then Colorado. So maybe, just maybe, things are starting to turn slightly for them. But you would have probably liked to have had that one yesterday when your starting pitcher has 15 strikeouts. Spencer Strider, by the way, on Saturday, 13 strikeouts. So maybe, just maybe, he's coming back into form. We'll see. But, yeah, I was keeping track of that yesterday while watching the U.S. Open. And that one was an interesting one to watch completely evolve and get away from the Braves. We'll talk more about that later in the week. By the way, we'll not be on air on Thursday for Juneteenth, so we will have that day off. Also yesterday, U.S. Open, Preston Thorne, and I'm trying to process what I saw over the weekend. On Thursday and Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I told you I was really excited about this golf tournament. I loved what the course was going to be. I said if you love seeing golfers struggle, relative to us as golfers, if you like seeing them go out there and hack it around and not perform very well and you like seeing scores over par, you're going to love this. This is going to be a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. And then at the end, I'm looking at all the names that are sitting up there going, I want a big name to win. I want to see a battle. J.J. Spawn, who, if you remember, J.J. got rope-a-doped by Rory McIlroy at the Players' Championship earlier this year in a playoff. He tried to look into Rory's bag.
Okay. All right.
If you remember that, Rory kind of rope-a-doped him a little bit, caused J.J. Spawn to blow that on 17 there at Sawgrass. But it was a great tournament, and it felt so anticlimactic at the very end. Like, for me, I can't speak for everybody. I want to speak for everybody. For me, it was exactly what I wanted. And then you get to the end, and you're like, hey, Brooksy, Koepka, where are you? Bryson, DeChambeau, wait, you're supposed to be. Scotty, come on, make a few more birdies. Get in there. John Rahm at 4. Okay, all right, I can get on board. Rory, what has happened to you? Where are you at?
Yeah, Rory clearly is like, I don't know if I would want to be here. I don't know if this is the thing. But I have a question, Bill. Jen, can you get clip number 8, please? Because I have a question. And this is going to go into our theme.
Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
Bill, was that a walk-off putt?
It's a good question. Never thought of that before. I mean, like I said, he had 2 putts to win it. Had to make it in 2. What an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We got to set a standard somewhere around here.
You going to give it to him?
I'm okay with that.
Walk-off putt. All right, so a walk-off. So let me reframe this. An underdog comes from behind, struggles on the front 9, bogeys, all types of things.
That's an understatement that he struggled on the front 9.
Struggles on the front 9, finds the mental fortitude to get himself together on the last hole from 66 feet, I believe it was.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
66 feet with a curve and a hill, all types of things happening. He hits a walk-off putt. And that's not exciting?
What's even more exciting, he was at, CVS or something at 3 o'clock in the morning getting medicine from his kids. If the internet is not failing us, I think he had a sick child.
Okay.
So to go from that
with
to the
a sick
hardest
child,
course.
added to the resiliency, Bill. And that's not exciting?
It's a great story. Love the story. It really is a great. To your point, him with his child afterwards, and everything was going on.
Just say,
It's on
Bill,
Father's Day.
you don't want the minors. You don't want the minor leagues in major league contests.
You're a cute story. It's like the Final Four. It's like everybody. You're a cute story, and then I would appreciate you getting out of the way. Look, it's a great story, and it is really cool. And maybe, just maybe, he's had a good year. He's actually had a really good year, and maybe he develops. Maybe something turns, but for him, yeah.
But wasn't this course set up to just this whole event, because of how the course was, it really was going to bring up an unexpected result? I mean, that isn't that kind of what
I don't know. That was a lot of debate on Wednesday and Thursday as I was kind of watching going into the tournament. Like a lot of people thought that this would really showcase the and I'm not, look, JJ Spawn's better than I'll ever be, so let's all be very clear about this. Like I'm like, it's set up to showcase who the best golfer in the world is, and I don't know if that's what we necessarily got. We got the guy who survived, and if that's what you want in a golf tournament, you got exactly what you wanted. The guy who survived very hard conditions, and maybe I should be happier about that. This is the guy that maybe is not the best, but this is a storybook ending, as you mentioned, as y'all mentioned, the long putt. It's an inch. I don't know. I came out of this tournament really wondering what I like in golf, because it's a phenomenal story. The excitement for him, the family aspect of all of this. I feel bad about myself, quite frankly.
It's okay, because you can know what you want. So the question I always come back to is, like, do we want the golfer to be the star, or do we want the course to be the star? Because it felt like the course was the star of this particular
That's a great
course.
question, because of what just happened with the PGA Championship, where Scotty was the star and the course was not. That's a really great question you ask. I like this tournament. I just railed against, and I feel so bad now. I'm hoping JJ Spawn is not like somewhere going through South Carolina listening, hoping that he's only to hear that be like, what is this clown talking about? But I think that's a great question, and the fact that this course was so hard and that you saw this all happen, I think makes it a better tournament for me.
But you just want the stars to pull through. So you want
at the very end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, you want the stars to pull their weight, because they weren't.
And the PGA Championship, again, Scotty won by 4 or 5 strokes. And it was kind of a boring tournament, but the top guy won. You're talking me through this.
This is fine.
You're helping me out
This
here.
is cool.
It's like a therapy session. But you're right. That was kind of a boring tournament. This was a great tournament. I was thoroughly excited, thoroughly involved. You had the rain delays too, and I thought the course got harder. Okay, great tournament.
Great tournament.
You've turned me.
and when you have compilation videos out there, and social media of all of the missed hits and missteps and just the insanity. Like, you just don't see bloopers that often for golf. So, I mean, again, this got a lot of people's attention.
Blooper reel of a tournament.
Yeah.
Put some clown music behind it.
I mean,
Yeah,
seriously,
it's
there
gonna
could
be
a Benny
tough.
Hill theme going.
I think you guys have kind of talked me through this, and I appreciate that, because I'll be honest. I feel like what I've done coming out of this tournament is realize that was a great tournament, and I liked seeing Rory and Scott. Rory smashing a what did he? I don't know what it was, like the tee box marker, I guess. Did y'all see that where he hi-ya'd the little tee box marker underneath the mic? Wow. Smashed his club through it. Scotty was upset. Scotty and his coach are kind of going back and forth on the range. You could tell he was visibly upset.
Yeah, it was like a NASCAR race, man. A lot of tension.
Is that your way of getting to the fact that you picked one? Congratulations?
No, it was just a really good race, and watching all of the.
That was a lot of fun yesterday.
It was.
I mentioned going into the weekend it was going to be a really fun between the College World Series and everything. Really interesting course yesterday. If you don't know, Shane Van Ginsberg wins yesterday. Jen picks Shane, so congratulations on that.
But I think the funniest part was the end of the race when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is very frustrated with Carson Hocevar and gets in his car and basically says, when we get back to the States, I'm going to kick your butt. Like, I'm not going to do anything across international lines.
Don't waste. Things are tricky now. So let me make sure
don't know how assault is handled in this country.
Exactly. So I'm just going to wait. But once you cross that border, man, I'm standing there waiting.
Just on the flight back, on the commercial flight. He's just looking around.
As far as going to be in the bathroom the whole flight.
803-404-6100.
By the way, I was going to pick Hocevar 2 weeks ago. Name tripped me up. I was like, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger on it. I was like,
understand.
I'd have helped you.
I don't want to do it. I got it now, though.
Yeah.
Understand. 803-404-6100. So that was a few other things. U.S. Open, obviously, a lot of College World Series discussion. We'll get into that with Jamie Bradford coming up next. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions, where they believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family. So give them a phone call today, 803-445-8109. At Corley Pool Solutions, they understand they aren't just maintaining your pool, they are maintaining your lifestyle. That's right, because let's be honest, sometimes it's just not about going home and jumping in the pool in the afternoon. It's about cooking out, maybe for Father's Day, around that pool and using it as a little bit of ambiance, hosting people over. That pool is your lifestyle. And at Corley Pool Solutions, they understand that. That's why, again, they believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you. And when we say most affordable, that means flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. So give them a phone call today, 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Call Corley Pool Solutions today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Monticello Road at Frost Avenue, reporting an accident there. Besides that, all moving along nicely for a Monday. We're not Mondaying, and I'm okay with that. Late day storms possible today, 92 for the high. That heat index, yep, looking at about 99. Tomorrow and Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun both days, around 93, 94. But again, the heat index chiming in, so the feels like it's more like 100 for the next couple of days. So hydration is going to be on point, and currently 73 on 107.5 The Game.
$7:18 on a Monday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and joined as always this morning by our good buddy, Jamie Bradford. And Jamie, happy Father's Day to you. Happy belated Father's Day to you. I hope it was a fantastic day for you and the family.
Thank you very much. It was. It was very relaxing, and as you get older, that's about all you want to do, I have discovered. So it was awesome. Happy Father's Day to y'all as well.
You are a little bit of a foodie like us, take great pride in that. And what was on the Bradford family menu yesterday?
No, we went out we took my uncle to lunch at the Shem Creek Crab House, and then my kids' favorite food right now, like the flavor of the last 3 months, is they just love subs. I said, fine, we'll just order some subs and hang out. So we ordered subs for dinner.
Good call.
Nothing crazy. I was planning on doing like steaks and stuff, and they're like, we want subs. I said, okay.
There is nothing wrong with that. And on top of all that, we had an incredible sports weekend, Jamie. You had the NBA Finals. You had NHL Finals. You had College World Series going on. You had the NASCAR race and obviously U.S. Open. U.S. Open or College World Series, what had Jamie Bradford's attention more this weekend?
Well, the World Series for the most of it, but yesterday it was the U.S. Open. That was crazy. Like, I mean, that course that's like putting on glass. I mean, and then you are putting on ice, and then Spawn birdies 17 and 18. That's just incredible what he did. That was awesome.
You with him on that?
I'm here for that. Anytime I see the long putt curve, Jamie, my question is, was it a walk-off putt?
Well, I guess theoretically it was, but the tournament wasn't over.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, it did end it, so I guess you could say it was.
Okay, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. But let's go back. We'll go back into some U.S. Open talk. Let's get to the College World Series and your take from what you've seen. Now, everybody got all excited when you were coming on. They quickly pointed out, Jamie took Arkansas. Jamie's been all over Arkansas, and they are in the losers bracket, but no shame there. You lost to LSU. But before we get to Coastal Carolina, let's see where you stand there with Arkansas, and if you think they're able to get out of the losers bracket.
Oh, yeah, they're able to get out of the losers bracket. There's no doubt. But, I mean, it just goes to show you this thing is just almost so unpredictable. It's crazy. I mean, I liked Arkansas, and I really liked Oregon State. Coastal Carolina kind of put them to bed last night. I mean, we've seen 2-0 teams not make it to the finals, as we all well know, probably most notably Clemson twice at the hands of the Gamecocks. But as it stands right now, certainly, yeah, LSU looks really good, and credit to Coastal, they look really, really good. I mean, UCLA looks good. I mean, it's just hard to figure it out. I'm really hoping that Louisville can make a little bit of a run through the losers bracket for my man Dan McDonnell. He's just one of the best, and those guys generally struggle when they get there for whatever reason. But I'll stay with Arkansas till they're gone. They might be going around 5 o'clock today, so this might be short-lived, but I'll stick with them till they're gone. I don't think they'll lose to Murray State, but Arkansas and LSU know each other so well, so you just never know what can happen.
It's been a lot of fun watching Coastal, and I'll tell you what, Jen, let's all listen to this clip again and get your take, get Jamie's take on Coach Schnall. But this is Coach Kevin Schnall talking last night after the Oregon State victory. And a lot to unpack from this, Jamie, but let's hear what Coach Schnall had to say last night. 6-2 victory. Here's him after the game. Do we have that clip? Did you send? You must have sent. I tell you what, don't worry about it, Jen. I apologize. We were talking about the seriousness, Jamie, of Coach Schnall that he has. But again, you talk about Coastal and how they're performing. I think there's no reason at all to think they can't win this.
No, not at all. I would say it's a little scary, the fact that they've won 25 straight, but it's also a really good thing that they've won 25 straight, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, they've got the magic potion right now. I mean, everybody – the thing about that team is everybody understands their role and everybody understands their job, and they're really talented. But most everybody there is really, really talented too. But, when you've got a team that's really talented and they're on a roll and they know where they fit, they're comfortable in that role, those teams are really difficult to beat because they just continue to find ways to win. And everybody – who gets an opportunity to do something, they expect to excel in that opportunity. Like, they're not waiting on someone else. There's not 2 or 3 guys circled in the lineup that they need to come through in order for them to be successful. They all feel like they can be the guy in that moment with whatever they're capable of doing. So, him and Matt Williams and that team, Matt Williams is just a phenomenal pitching coach. There's just no way around it. He's just unbelievable. So those guys, they're in the catbird seat right now. They could win this thing. There's no doubt. Is that good for South Carolina? Is it bad for South Carolina? I don't think it's good for them, but I know there's a lot of people in the state that are pulling for them.
You mentioned that in terms of good or bad for South Carolina. I know one of the guys that you just mentioned, Matt Williams, we kind of talked about it. I don't blame Paul Maneri for not retaining Matt Williams. He went with his guy, Terry Rooney. Coaches do that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But your experience with Matt Williams and how you have seen him impacting that pitching staff down there.
Well, he finds what you do well and then he exploits it. That's what's great about him. Here's what you do well. So let's focus on that. Let's make you the best that you can be at what you can do well, and we'll bring the other things along. And then once you excel at the thing that you're best at, then they find where's the best spot for that on our team. And that's what Matt's really, really good at doing. Now, he took over a pitching staff that was pretty darn good and pretty talented. So it's not like he just took a bunch of scrubs and all of a sudden, sprinkled magic potion on them and there they are. That's unrealistic. Those things don't happen. But when you get a different voice in the room, somebody who's your new coach, you might do things a little bit differently. There is a transition in there. There's a transition period. But everything that I know about what's going on up there, and I don't know everything, obviously, but everything I know is that transition literally couldn't have gone any better. They took to him immediately and understood that, how much better he was going to make them in certain areas, and they were probably going to not get much better in some other areas, but these were the areas they needed to focus on in order to help the team and then ultimately help themselves, and here they are. They're just they've only lost 11 times this year, and they might end up being national champions. No, I agree with you. And, again, it'll be a lot of fun. They'll be back in action on Wednesday. Today, you just mentioned it. You're hoping Arkansas hangs around. Also tonight, LSU, UCLA, and you mentioned all 3 of those were playing pretty good. Who are you going with in UCLA, LSU tonight? I'll take LSU. LSU's they're LSU, man. They're really good, and this is their place, and their fans are in Omaha every year, regardless of whether they are or not. So, yeah, I'll go with LSU, and I'll go with Arkansas this afternoon. Okay, then that brings us to our next question before we close out this segment. You said their fans are there every year. Can anybody overtake LSU in the Jello shot competition? Phil, sorry, that's my producer. Yeah, Bill, I think so. That's my apologies. Y'all look nothing alike. I should never make that mistake. It's okay. That's the easiest answer on the planet. You really think anybody's going to outshot LSU in a bar?
We did.
The question is, hey, here's the question. Y'all could chew on this because we couldn't come up with a perfect 8. I mentioned this last week on our program. Who is the field in Omaha that you would want to see when it comes to the Rocco Shot Challenge? Who are the other 7 fan bases you want there with LSU?
Well, I immediately said not Arizona, but Arizona State. If you could get Arizona State in the mix, they might be able to put up a fair mix for that. Not Arizona. We don't want the hippies in Tucson. We're not dealing with them. But Arizona State, I feel like could be very, very solid competition.
Oh, man.
All right.
That's just my first one.
I got about a minute and a half. I got a minute and a half before we got to hit a break here. So LSU, I'll go. Yeah, Arizona. I'll take his. Arizona State.
I mentioned West Virginia.
Very good pick. Very good pick.
You know, we also said, hey, don't sleep on the Gamecocks, man. If they go back there's going to be a lot of people in Omaha. But, you know, if you don't want to pick them, it's fine. JC said Wisconsin, but they don't have a baseball team.
Oh, did not know that.
Did not know that.
So I got LSU, Arizona State, West Virginia, South Carolina. I think Georgia.
You have to do it all now. This can carry all through the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay. 803.
We'll work on this one.
Look at Jamie bringing content to the show here. I was worried we weren't going to get through the 8 o'clock hour. Weigh in on that. 803-404-6100. Who is your 8 teams in the College World Series that would make for a wild Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge week? 803-404-6100. Send that in. We'll come back. Jamie, we'll go get into the Athlon Sports coaches rankings. Shane Beamer moving up a little bit. We'll get your take on that and also where you think some of the other coaches should be. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that history, those 30 years, that prove just how great they are. You're not a leader for 30 years if you're not doing it at an exceptionally high level. And the professionals at Mid-State Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility. And they're going to do it in a manner both safe and pleasing to you and your operation. So give them a phone call today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you with a maintenance contract. Just make that phone call. 803-356-1919. Again, it's 7:21 on a Monday morning. But guess what? You will speak with an on-call technician who is ready to help you. And if you call during hours, you'll speak with a Mid-State Roofing employee. So again, they are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At Mid-State Roofing, they design and install bonded systems with a protective guarantee that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. So give them a phone call. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 803-356-1919.
Monticello Road at Frost Avenue, an accident there. Also be mindful you'll find one I-26 eastbound between exit 101 and 102. So slowing things down coming into the Columbia area. And yeah, we're looking for some late day storms today. 92 for the high. Some clouds and sun tomorrow. Wednesday, mostly sunny. Each day goes up just a little bit, 92, 93, 94. But more importantly, heat indexes of around 100 for the next couple of days. So just keep that in mind as well. 73 currently on 107.5 The Game.
.34 on a Monday morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, and joined as always on a Monday morning by Jamie Bradford, where we were talking some College World Series and now a little football talking season. Jamie Bradford, talking season. This is where we just take any list that you put out and we all of a sudden just start getting all excited about it or tearing it apart. And Athlon Sports has put out their ranking of the SEC coaches for the year. Shane Beamer checking in at number 8 right now, probably about fair, behind Kirby Smart at 1, going in order to 7. Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Brian Kelly, Kalen DeBoer, Lane Kiffin, Josh Heupel, and Eli Drinkowitz, the 7 in front of him. Let's start with that. Is that fair? Is that correct? Do you want to move him ahead of anybody on that group?
Yeah, I've got him at number 1.
There you go, boy. Yes.
Yeah, this is the home of the Gamecocks. He's number 1.
Not only on the field, but in our hearts and minds as well.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. I saw it over the weekend. I always wonder, how do they do these? What goes into this? Is it last year's record? Is it their entire tenure there? Is it the projectability? What is it? Because if it's projectability, we don't know much about Brian Kelly and what LSU is going to do this year, or Kalen DeBoer. Are they basing that on his history? Is Eli Drinkwitz really 7? I don't know. So I'll go with, I think Shane should be right around number 5 or 6.
Okay.
And what I'm basing that off of is who are the most stable programs, I think, right now in the league. And Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, I think, is in a pretty good spot. And, look, when Lane Kiffin's high on a quarterback, regardless of how much he's played, he's gonna be good. Has he ever been wrong about that ever? So Austin Simmons and the rest of them, they went back to the portal. I think they're in a good spot. And then, I don't know. I would say that probably DeBoer's in a little bit of a better spot than Kelly right now. So I think that puts Shane right there around 5. I'm not so sure that Tennessee is going to be what everybody thinks Tennessee is going to be either. So
well,
there's a 5 or 6.
Preston, you want to weigh in on that before I go ahead?
Tennessee has to figure out the quarterback situation. As I stated, and I'll state over and over again, I know everybody was very proud of Josh Heupel for taking a stand and pumping their chest, and we're not going to do things like that. But let's just see what happens when they don't have a quarterback and they're struggling and they're looking for that to get solved. So I would see that. My biggest thing is as y'all are talking about this, and this is a testament to the job that Shane has done and how he's grown as a head coach, is when I look at this list, the people above Shane, there's really only 2 that I would say, give me that guy. And obviously because Kirby's done it very well, he's done it at a high clip. And then I would say after that, either Sark or Brian Kelly. But other than that, I would take Shane Beamer in a head-to-head against any of these other coaches at this point in his career. I wouldn't have said that at the beginning of his career when he got hired compared to the rest of the SEC coaches. But after what he did last year, the way that he's been consistent over time and is building the program, I think as a Gamecock fan, I feel comfortable with Shane against any of these other coaches.
Jamie, you agree with that?
Very well said.
Yep.
I do, and I'm going to say something that's pretty unpopular, but it's okay. I don't know that there's much of a difference in how he has built the program at South Carolina from how Coach Sweeney did it at Clemson. And what I'm saying is, the main difference is that Shane Beamer's had to go through this league. Coach Sweeney didn't have to do that at Clemson, but he did have to build the program the way that he wanted to build it. And Shane Beamer has done it the way that he has wanted to do it here. This isn't anybody else's way. This isn't like, well, I was here under Spurrier, and this is how he did things, so I think we should do it that way. No, this is everything they're doing is the way that Shane wants to do it. And they lost some games. If you go back in time, have there been some questionable moments in his tenure? Of course there have been, and Preston just pointed that out. I mean, he was young and trying to get things figured out. But I mean, this seems like a pretty well-oiled machine right now, guys. I mean, it's not on cruise control. You don't ever want to be there, but they picked up steam, and they're certainly on the runway, if that makes sense. And I agree with him. I don't know that there's a guy on the list that you would say, okay, this is going to be the Gamecock football coach. Like, he is going to come here and he wants to be the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. There might be a couple of guys that you would say I would trust to come, win in our program, but are they going to be Gamecocks at the end of the day? And I don't think you can find anybody other than Shane Beamer. I think this guy is exactly what South Carolina needs.
I don't disagree with you on that. This is a huge year, not because Shane Beamer has to. I don't want to. It's not for his job, but this is the year he's going to have to handle. Him and his program are handling expectations, and if they come out and they win 8 or 9 games again, I actually think you move him up into the top 5 on this list. And I've said it multiple times, Jamie, I love the way that they're handling the offseason. I'm not making fun of the social media team, but I like that they've stayed more quiet this offseason. You haven't seen any of the Full House videos or the Office type video. You haven't seen it. It seems like they are focused. And this is where you go from being like, oh, that cute little program that won 9 games this year, but then lost 7 the next year, and then won 6 or 7 or 8, whatever. This is where it feels like you develop consistency with a big year here. And that, to me, would show me that Shane Beamer has put this program on a different level and is ready to take the next step to competing annually for a playoff berth. So I think it's a big year. The one thing I'll say, we got to hit a break here in just a second. Josh Heupel, I would actually have higher. I have to give some credit. I don't think I want to. Preston said that he has no chin, which maybe plays into part of me not wanting to give him any credit. But Josh Heupel, if not for Shane Beamer in South Carolina, probably make the college football playoff in 2023. In 2022, I believe is the year I'm thinking of. Yeah. If not for that, if not for South Carolina, we know how that went down. Last year, they do make the college football playoff. I understand expanded playoff, but they make it. I know they got thumped, but I got to give him credit. I do understand what you two were saying about the quarterback situation, but, Jamie, you led off this whole segment exactly the thing that I mentioned. How are we ranking these guys? Are we ranking them based on their history, or are we ranking them based on 2024? Are we ranking them based on what we think the future will be? With all that, I would probably have Josh Heupel actually ahead of Lane Kiffin, and quite frankly, I might have him ahead of Kalen DeBoer, depending on what criteria you want me to use for that. But we will continue to do that. Talking season officially amongst us, and each week we'll probably have a new kind of odd ranking or list to talk with Jamie about. 803-404-6100. Wrap things up. Come back here with Jamie Bradford for the final segment of the Monday Hour. You're listening to The Early Game. 7:49 on a Monday morning as we wrap up the hour with Jamie Bradford. Been talking a little bit about the Coastal Carolina baseball team, about Athlon Sports coaches rankings, and we discussed a little bit about the U.S. Open, Jamie, and I want to circle back to that. I was trying to figure out how to process this U.S. Open. I like seeing the big names win tournaments, but I think I like seeing the golf course be the storyline of the tournament, and the golf course was the storyline. What was your takeaway from the U.S. Open this past weekend?
Yeah, that was hard to watch, man. And I'm with you. I mean, when Scheffler kind of got eliminated, it basically took the intrigue out from the popular names in the sport. I'll say this, J.J. Spaun didn't show like a lot of emotion. He's just kind of old school, quite frankly. But those other guys that were up there in contention, it was kind of embarrassing for the sport of golf. Like the way Sam Burns and Tyrrell Hatton were acting out there. Come on, man. Quit throwing clubs around the course and chopping up grass every time you hit a bad shot and stuff like that. Like, I get it if it happens every so often, but Hatton was like he looked like he was about to fight somebody in a bar. I mean, it was kind of disgusting. And so I didn't like the way some of those guys were acting towards the end there at all. But the golf course was, man, that was brutal. And that rain delay, I mean, some guys it affected positively, and some guys it was the polar opposite. Whether it was the course or whether it just took them out of their rhythm or whatever the case was. It was, you're right about that. That was definitely the story. There's no question. I would have loved to have seen some of the big, I mean, because we still don't have like a rivalry in golf, you know what I mean? And I guess Scheffler's kind of the name, but like you didn't have any of that at the end of this thing. You just had who was going to be able to survive this thing. And Spaun didn't really survive it. He just took charge the last two holes and won it.
That's a good way to kind of describe it. The court looked, number one, Tyrrell Hatton is known as a hothead and a guy who doesn't know how to keep his emotions in check. Sam Burns, on the other hand, that was a really interesting decision late in the round, and I don't know. Obviously, I think it's one of those things you had to be there to see it and kind of like stand over the ball, if you don't know what I'm talking about. He was denied.
On the 15th?
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah.
What was
he should have got relief there.
I thought so, too. Did you happen to catch it, Preston? You know what we're talking about? He hits a drive down the right side of the fairway. Jamie, correct me if I have any of this completely wrong. It's kind of nestled up on a little bit of the first cut of rough, but it's in the fairway. I mean, it had been pouring. If people have seen pictures of it, there was some casual water there. The ball's in there. I thought for sure he would get relief. I actually walked to the kitchen to do something, come back, and Austin, my son's like, he didn't get the relief. Of course, Austin doesn't quite understand what casual relief is, so I'm getting an explanation from a 13-year-old who's still trying to learn the rules of golf. I think Austin made it sound like he was hitting out of a full-on pond. But, yeah, I can understand Sam Burns. I do kind of understand that in that critical moment, Jamie.
No, I mean, hey, look, I understand the frustration 100%. Like, that might have cost him the U.S. Open, but like, you still have to find a way to like, he wasn't out of the tournament when that happened.
No, he's won back.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like he was in it, and like I think he just let that affect him. He did birdie the 17th, but he just continued to just let it affect him. And I just didn't think that some of what he was doing out there was necessary. It's golf, you know what I mean? Like you and I might do that on the course, but we don't have the entire world watching us. Of course, I don't know. To your point, if I lost about $1 million because of not getting relief, I guess maybe I might throw my old bag in the pond for what it's worth. But I didn't love it, but I certainly thought they screwed that up. And he did appeal to two different officials, and both of them said I don't know if the second official, kind of like umpires sometimes. Oh no, that was his call. I'm going to go with his call. If he was scared to make a different call, or I don't know. I don't even know what the process is there. I don't even know how you would appeal that. But I thought he should have gotten relief.
Yeah, a buddy of ours, Stephen Hartwig, weighing in and says, yeah, he had every reason to be upset. That was definitely casual water. So, good golf tournament. Where do you rank this? I asked this real quick. Preston kind of brought this up. I thought it was a great point. PGA Championship. Scotty Scheffler won. Big name. Golf course seemed very boring and just kind of almost unlikable at Quail Hollow. This one, great golf course. Nothing against J.J. Spaun, but you don't get the big winner. Which do you prefer?
Ooh. I mean, I love golf, man. So probably this one. I mean, I love watching golf.
Preston, casual
And-
observer, you agree with that?
Yeah, because I don't know many of the guys anyway. So
Okay.
I like seeing pros come to earth a little bit, because that to me is like, oh,
Yeah, it levels it.
I
Yeah.
was going to ask
That
Jen,
levels
you
the
agree with that?
playing
You guys, are y'all all with I think all four of us are in consensus
Yeah,
on this?
I don't think it has to be a big name. I really don't. The course is important.
No. Well, and I'll say this too. I mean, obviously it was the course that affected it, but like a lot of the things that we were seeing out there, it were so relatable to how we all play golf.
Yes.
If you know what I mean? Not on that stop, like that course would eat us alive. Of course, we probably wouldn't even finish the front nine.
And we
But,
would
like,
throw clubs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, some of those chips that would just land back in the rough, I'm like, there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so you can kind of relate to that.
Yeah. Jamie, we always appreciate it, man. You and I will catch up here this week, and we'll get everything lined up. Summer is officially upon us. We all got some vacation time, but we'll speak, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
appreciate
Have a
it,
great
Jamie.
week.
Jamie Bradford joining us this morning, as he does each and every Monday. A lot of good discussion, and we will get our schedule straight as we head toward SEC Media Days. Hour 3 on the way. Some thorns, buds, and roses.
You know, they say perfection is a journey, and our journey led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin when we were looking for some countertops when we were redoing some bathrooms in our home. And we had heard that they are so good about so many things from every aspect of the process, from the customer idea to the fabrication to the installation. Every step of the process was meticulous, and we couldn't be more thrilled. We weren't exactly sure what kind of countertops we needed in bathrooms, and so they were very helpful in educating us. Decided to go with the leathered side in the master bedroom with the granite that we did, and love the look, love the cleanup and everything. It's just been a great choice, but we didn't know about that until we went through the education process with them. I'm telling you, if you are looking for countertops for your kitchen or your bath, I do encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman, and of course tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They are family owned and operated just beyond Columbia in Chapin, and I assure you they will act beyond your expectations. Visit them online, carolinastonecraftsman.com. And it's gotten a little bit busy out there this morning. I-20 westbound at Highway 378, exit 61 on I-20 westbound. You'll find an accident there. Also, I-26 eastbound between mile marker 101 and 102. I-26 eastbound around mile marker 108 and 111. So quite a stretch of I-26 eastbound where you're going to be encountering some slowdowns. Also, Monticello Road at Frost Avenue, an accident there. So do try to be careful. Pack a little patience for your Monday morning. We are looking for a high today of 92, 93 tomorrow, 94 on Wednesday. But when you add in the heat index, we're going to be feeling more like 99 or 100 for the next couple of days. So be mindful of that. 74 with some clouds right now.
Eight a.m. as we get up and get going here on your Monday morning. Hope you're off to a great start, rolling along. Thank you to Jamie Bradford for joining us there in the previous hour to talk everything from Coastal Carolina. What are they, Preston?
Well, we're going to hear Coach because I got to make sure I get it right because I don't want him to come through the door and get me on this. Jen, do we have the clip from Coach telling us how to correctly pronounce the Coastal Carolina mascot?
Chanticleers. Not Chanticleers, Chanticleers.
So, we have been talking Coastal Carolina, Chanticleers.
Chanticleers. If you've been out there saying it improperly, then this is your time. Your sins are forgiven. But Coach Chanal has put us all on notice. Chanticleers. Chanticleers.
So we've been talking about the Chanticleers as they are now one win away from the College World Series Championship Series against somebody. Jamie Bradford's pick, Arkansas, is in the losers bracket. LSU, who we saw at the very end of the season here in Columbia. Winners bracket, also saw Arkansas, by the way. Oh boy, that series was a long time ago, and it was at that point in the season when we played Arkansas and was not competitive at all. That I think all of us looked around and went, things might be an issue here in
Let's
Columbia.
Readjust our expectations, recalibrate.
But Coastal Carolina last night, 6-2 over Oregon State. Two teams that have won a national championship, and Coastal moves on again to the championship series. They'll play again Wednesday at 2 o'clock, so set your viewing time accordingly for that. Also, we've been talking about the U.S. Open this morning, and one thing I love about the way we do radio sometimes, I don't come in here with a predetermined thought. I kind of allow, whether it's the listeners or Preston or Jen, to kind of set what I'm thinking here. And the U.S. Open was one of those things because I was so excited about this, Preston, last week. The build-up for the course, how hard this course. A lot of people labeling it maybe the hardest U.S. Open course ever in U.S. Open history. And so I was really excited to see it. And then you go, okay, well, what golfer emerges from this group? And my mindset went to, which great golfer or who reappeared? Maybe Jordan Spieth, this is the week for him. Maybe Justin Thomas, maybe Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, obviously Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka. Maybe this is the week. One of those guys. And something called J.J. Spawn comes out of nowhere to be the only player in the entire field under par and win his first major and continue what's been a very strong year for him.
Was it a walk-off putt, Bill? I've heard two conflicting answers from two golf folks. Jamie said, matter of fact, Jay, can we get clip number 8 here so we can hear this? My question to the golf people, was it a walk-off? This is what I've heard two different golf folks, you and Jamie, both of you said your first immediate reaction was no, and then you kind of was like, I don't know, Jamie. Can we hear clip number 8?
Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
I think it's a new way to look at things.
I don't know.
I mean, yes, a lot of times it is the final putt
that wins.
No question. But yeah, you won. You walked off.
Well, okay. I like where you're going with this. Well, maybe it is a walk off because he still had another putt left. He still had one in the bank, and he ended it early.
Okay, I see where we're going with this, and the plan is for this family, the three of us, to stay together for a long time. So we're about to do something here on this program that's going to set a standard moving forward.
Okay.
Baseball, because we've debated this in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we going to call a walk-off? Because the opposition, and there's a lot of them in a golf, your individual, is it when that person has to walk off and be done? Because if so, we can't call this a walk-off.
Okay.
But this did end the
ended the tournament.
It didn't officially end the tournament, but it ended who the winner was.
He won it with that shot.
With that putt.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing that could happen after that would change the outcome of the thing. So it's a little different. Is that where we're ready? We're going to have to draw a definitive line on this.
I'm all for it. This is the campaign.
Like a walk-off field goal. Does it count for a walk-off field goal if there's like a second left and you still have to kick off? Was that a walk-off field goal, a walk-off touchdown because remember, Missouri, let's say Rocket Sanders scores. Was that a walk-off touchdown against Missouri? Because Missouri then we had to kick off, so technically there had to be another play. I feel like we're going to have to set a standard on this because it feels like the three of us are getting more into the weeds, especially this year, on what is defined as a walk-off.
It just keeps coming up, and so yes, you're right. I don't have the answer for us right now, but I do think we probably do need to figure that out because the standard is happening a little bit more often. And as our guy J.J. Spawn hit this long putt with the hill and the curve and all that type of stuff, it's just up for a discussion. That's all I'm saying.
I think while you're right about discussion, I think what we're doing is we're having to set a standard here. It's kind of like who was that? Des Bryant? Was it Des Bryant? Am I right on that?
Is it a catch?
Is it a catch? Yeah.
Football motion?
Yeah.
Did he make a football? Yeah, we still haven't figured that out.
Exactly.
So if we go in NFL standards, we still don't know what a catch is.
So yeah, we'll continue to work on that. But the question would be, was that a walk-off putt? Given that there had to be another putt. 803-404-6100. I tell you what, if I played any audio, Preston, from J.J. Spawn, would you recognize his voice?
Well, now I would because there was a deep dive into J.J. Spawn's voice.
Let's hear J.J. Spawn after the tournament talking about winning it. Nope.
Okay, seriously, it played just seconds ago. Why is it doing this?
Let's give it a second. It's like waiting for a big putt to occur. All right.
Here we go.
I said I shouldn't have made that putt. Well, I guess because I made that putt, that was going to set the tempo for the week.
And of all the people that interviewed you, what do you love about me the most?
You're beautiful.
You're taller than me?
And that's right. I didn't want to pick on you in front of
Come
camera.
on, man. There's no shame in
I'm
my
like,
game.
finally, someone I'm taller than doing these interviews.
I'm not proud. It's fine. The most important question I want to ask you, the dream. Like as a kid, every kid is like this putt to win the U.S. Open, this putt. Please tell me the difference for you between the dream and the reality.
Well, first off, the putt as a kid wasn't a 64-footer. Usually it's like 5 feet or something. But yeah, man, it's a dream come true. What a story tale ending to such a great week, and for me it's just unbelievable, and I'm still riding on cloud 9 right now.
What do you make of that? Sounds like a young kid, by the way, doing the interview.
Definitely sounds like a young kid and a young kid speaking to him. Sounds like two youngins talking it up. What I got from that is a 360 from the old curmudgeon that we have from the sound from Rory, who was just out there just being a grump the whole time.
Yes.
Every time I heard from him, and when I was listening to it, I was like, man, what a grump. Who?
Yeah, I'd rather hear this.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is very much more delighting than old Rory.
That was now. I tell you what, let's do that. Let's go back in here. Old Rory. This is him on his frustration. And this is, remember I told you about this? We talked about this. We want to love Rory. And then he acts like this. And Jen, this is going to be clip number 7. Let's hear Rory on his frustration with the media.
No, not really. It's more a frustration with you guys. But
There you go.
I'm just, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been totally available for the last few years, and I'm not saying maybe not you guys, but maybe more just the whole thing. The whole
driver thing.
Yeah, part of I mean, that was a part of it. Yeah, that was a part of it. But it's not as if like at Augusta I skipped you guys on Thursday, so. Yeah, it's not as if it's not out of the ordinary. I've done it before. I'm just doing it a little more often.
Dude, you had everybody behind you after Augusta, and it just doesn't feel like he's capitalized on it, Preston.
Yeah, obviously he's struggling. He's struggling in the post game after he's accomplished that thing. We talked about that last time, so obviously he's struggling. But the idea that you can just skip your media responsibilities is ridiculous. And I mean, obviously there's no money, there's no purse that's gonna really make him do that. But come on, man, grow up, handle your responsibilities.
Yeah, Rory got off to a hot start on Thursday. It looked like he was going to make a run and maybe be in contention, and quickly kind of worked his way out of it. But to that point, look, it didn't shock me. I almost wouldn't have taken him to make the cut, to be dead honest, on Thursday before he teed off because of what he had said throughout the week. But it's interesting to see how he'll finish out this year, a year which should be a victory lap for him. He seems to right now have a way of putting his foot in his mouth and kind of pushing his reputation. Hard to believe at the beginning. Well, I would almost say at the beginning of the year, but I could be wrong, maybe date back 2 years, that Bryson DeChambeau was a fan favorite and Rory is working his way toward being a villain.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know where we would have at the peak of being like, nah, DeChambeau's the villain, Rory's the lovable guy. Somewhere in there, we've gone the exact opposite way now.
Yeah, things have definitely changed. But he said something interesting about being done with all of it, and I wonder if it's just wearing on him holding the PGA Tour on his back while everybody else left.
Yeah. Jumped off. 803-404-6100. We'll speak a little bit more about the U.S. Open. But we got some thorns, buds, and roses coming up. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and they do it because of the way they take care of their customers. That's right. At Mid-State Roofing, they will provide you the proper advice, the service, and the results for the needs of your facility. So whether you're here in Columbia, maybe you're in Florence or Myrtle Beach, Aiken or Augusta, Greenville or Charleston, Mid-State Roofing is there to help you with a maintenance contract. And most importantly, they're there to do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing is ready to service you. If you have a leak, you just need to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek, and it starts with a phone call, 803-356-1919. At Mid-State Roofing, excuse me, they design and install bonded systems with a protective guarantee. They'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. Give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Cushman Drive at Maurice Street, an accident there. Also, I-20 westbound at exit 61. That would be Highway 378. I-26 eastbound at mile marker 108, also at 111. So Bush River Road and Highway 1 on I-26 eastbound, you will find accidents in both of those locations. And up towards Chapin, Wessinger Road at Highway 76. So be mindful of those areas. 92 for the high today with maybe a late day storm. And then tomorrow and Wednesday, highs around 93, 94, but heat indexes each day nearing 100. Currently 75 on the early game.
Michael, I know that the first one was sweet, but how much sweeter was this one?
Well, I can't even put it in words. My father's just what it is to me. I know he's watching. To my wife, to my kids, to my mother, my brothers and sisters. This is for Daddy. I'm very happy for you.
That was, if you're in your fields, yes, that was the GOAT, Michael Jordan, doing GOAT things as only he could do, winning the NBA championship on Father's Day after his father was tragically murdered. And that's going to lead us into our conversation. It's going to start this TBR, Bill.
Well, let's hit the music. Let's get
right
it going.
Bill, we got robbed this weekend. We got robbed of the moment. NBA, what are you doing? You are supposed to have a finals game on Father's Day. It is mandatory. It is standard. I don't care what the rest schedule is. I don't care that the U.S. Open was on. I don't care if there was another race anywhere. Figure it out and put a game on Father's Day. It's a perfect moment. Look at all these opportunities that you missed, and especially this year, Bill. We could have had Fred Halliburton, Dad Halliburton, imagine him.
Oh, Lord.
Unleashed to the world on Father's Day. I don't know if you've been following social media. SGA's dad, he's a character also. There's a lot of things that could have happened with this Father's Day, but the NBA missed an opportunity. I know you want to get the players rest. I know it's probably the primetime schedule on Monday, but you missed the opportunity for us to have a moment. Obviously, we don't have any of those types of moments, but it just reminded me of how cool it always was to have that game on Father's Day. NBA, you missed it. That's a thorn. Buds. Bill, are you familiar with the Titan Arum? The Titan Arum.
Sit down, kids. We're going to learn something.
The Titan Arum is a plant that blooms every 7 to 10 years.
I think I have. Wait, is this the tall plant that it's real beautiful? It's real tall and it.
And does it bloom for about 10 minutes or something? And
these are all great guesses. This one is just large and smelly.
Oh,
this one's large and smelly. It blooms for every 10 years. It's large and smelly, but this is not going to be large and smelly, Bill. We're planting the Coastal Carolina Titan Arum, coming up on 9 years now. 9 years.
Wait a minute.
And we're just saying.
Wow.
Could this be the seed of another World Series championship blooming in Conway? We planted the seed in 2016. It grew then. We saw it. It lays dormant for another 9 years. And here we go. Is this possible? Coastal's 25 on a 25-game win streak, 42-0 after winning up to 6 games. Bill, is this plant going to bloom after 9 years?
Okay, we'll come back to this.
Being dormant.
I've got some questions about this connection.
The Titan Arum, 7 to 10 years blooms. Roses. No roses this week.
What?
We're going no roses this week. We're going whistles.
Okay.
We're going whistles for all the coaches. all the coaches. And Father's Day, obviously, we're giving out whistles to everybody who has been a coach. You are much appreciated. We talk about sports. You can't talk about sports without having tremendous coaches. I think we're all familiar with the role that coaches play in athletes' lives, whether that's their physical conditioning, their mental conditioning, getting them to be participating in teams, getting them to straighten up, walk right, adding mental toughness to their model. If you're an athlete, if you've made it to any level of sports, you have been blessed by having a tremendous coach in your life at some point. And I would just implore everybody, if you've had a great coach and if they're around, reach out to them and tell them how important they were in your life. Because even if you weren't a good athlete, you probably even had a better coach because he coached you. And you weren't very good, but he still tried to make you good. And coaches are selfless. And before they get to the SEC or before they get to college, I would like to tell you all, coaches do not get paid very much money at any level, especially in high school level. There's the old coach
joke. Be clear about that any level when you might, let's back that one down a little bit.
There's the old coach adage, if you were to add up the per hour work that you did as a coach, it would make you cry. Okay. But that's not why they do it. But coaches, this weekend is for you. Whistles for all of the tremendous coaches out there and everybody whose lives have been affected by coaches on this Father's Day weekend. Bill, those are our thorns, buds, and roses for the week.
All right, buds. Excuse me, thorns. I hadn't thought about it that way. And to be dead honest with you, Austin and I were under the impression that there was a game last night because that's the way it is. It wasn't until about 7:30 that Austin was like, "Hey, are you aware there's not a game tonight? It's tomorrow night." I was like, "I didn't know that. It felt like there was a game tonight." And he's like, "Yes." And then he asked me the same question that you just said. He's like, "Isn't there always a game on? Don't they have that scheduled in?" I was like, and that actually got me thinking for a few minutes. Like, yeah, isn't there always a game on Sunday night? That's a kind of an odd.
Yeah, it just seems like a miss. I know they're trying to get them a little more rest.
It's almost like somebody didn't pay attention to the schedule and wrote it down and then realized, oh wait, we were supposed to have a game tonight.
Yeah,
like they missed the whole schedule. Because you can go back. You could have been in April and you knew the NBA 7-game World Championship schedule.
Yeah, well, it took us a little moving this here, move this there, and get a game on that Sunday.
It feels like somebody last year when they were putting it together, didn't look at the calendar right and accidentally missed the days.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Something. I feel that was odd. I feel like that was odd. Because again, it's not like after they won Friday night, they're like, okay, we'll have a game on Monday night. This thing is set in stone. I know that I can tell you the next few days that the games are. Buds. All right, the one thing I have here, and this is a caveat that you might want to have left out. I get where you're going with the Titan Arum. You said it's a smelly plant.
Yeah, it's also
don't feel like that's very fair.
Yeah, also known as the corpse flower.
Okay, yeah, I think we got to revisit that. I feel like we're loving on Coastal Carolina. We've been talking about them, the Chanticleers.
Chanticleers, as coaches told us. Maybe I should have went with bamboo. Do we have a different one? Well, bamboo grows underground for 5 years and then it bursts up into the air. So maybe we could have done bamboo. Maybe we're not planning Titan Arums. Maybe we're Titan Bamboo Championships.
Okay. All right. Jen, I think you and I are on the same one about the other plant that grows really tall and then blooms once every 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, we saw that in oh my gosh, what's the movie? Walter Matthau. The Mischievous Kid. I'm drawing a blank.
Dennis the Menace.
Yes, Dennis the Menace.
I can't believe I knew that.
Yes, Mr. Wilson had this flower that was blooming, and he was waiting, and the whole garden club came, and it bloomed for 10 seconds, and he missed it because, Dennis did something mischievous and whatever. So that's what I was envisioning.
Wait, if you had Dennis the Menace on your early game bingo card this morning, congratulations to you.
No kidding. A little random there.
One of my favorite cartoons. It was a great
Better as a cartoon than a movie, right?
Better as a... we want to have a sport talk? Better as a cartoon than any other iteration because the black and white live action.
Yeah, I've seen those reruns, and it's it's okay.
Not great. Cartoon, solid movie.
But the ball, it wasn't bad. But
best as a cartoon.
Okay, all right. I did watch Shrek 3 for some reason this weekend. I'm not sure how the kids and I got on that path, but we did watch that. Also, all right, whistles. You're right. Shout out to all the any coach out there that has participated in the youth league. It is time consuming. There is very little appreciation. You have George Halliburton's and
yes,
Mr. Mr. SGA's normally telling you how their kids should be playing more. So yes. So kudos to that. 803-404-6100. Come back, get back into the College World Series a little bit and some U.S. Open discussion. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, locally owned business that did such great work for us in our kitchen when we had to go ahead and take that down to the studs, replace everything in the kitchen. And then we decided, well, it's time to do some updates in a couple of bathrooms. So, of course, they were the first place we went for cabinetry there as well. So much that they can do for you to make your home more functional. Your closet, you're like, I'm just so over these wire hanging racks. They have solutions for that. Maybe you want to have some drawers and make things a little bit more functional. In that respect, they can help you out with that. If you have a home office workspace, you're wanting to build that out a little bit, they have solutions as well. Lots of storage options. Even if you just want to update your pantry and make that a little bit better, they can. It doesn't have to be a complete remodel. Lots of options that they can help you with in your home. CHWCabinetry.com, the place to go. Call them at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, passion from inspiration to installation. Cushman at Maurice Street. Find an accident there. Also, I-20 westbound at Highway 378 in the cleanup stages. Still working those two other slowdowns on I-26 eastbound, both at Bush River Road and Highway 1. And then Wessinger at Highway 76. And yeah, we're looking for those late day storms possibility today. High of 92, 93 and 94 tomorrow and Wednesday. Mix of clouds and sun. A little more sun looks to be coming in on Wednesday. But because of the heat index, the temperatures or the feels like is going to be closer to 100 for the next couple of days. Because, summer literally is just around the corner. Currently 75 on 107.5 The Game.
.32 on a Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. Preston Thorne, fresh off some thorns, buds, and roses. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, as we get you going. Jen celebrating a victory in our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. How did the rest of us do? I looked up and I never saw Tyler Reddick even close. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, one time he was about 15th. But yeah, it wrapped up where I think I came in first. Josh came in, Reggie came in second, Josh third, Preston fourth, and Bill fifth.
So I lost 3 points to Reggie in that. So we will get ready for that. We need to maybe get in touch. I should have said this, but we'll do some business on air. We need to check with Josh and see if we can maybe move him to Wednesday, if possible.
All it's in the works.
Again, programming note, we will be off on Thursday for Juneteenth. Speaking of Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, NBA draft, Preston Thorne, and Preston, growing up, never saw a South Carolina player really in the NBA. And now I'm going to be watching pretty much, legitimately 3 of them in the NBA. A.J. Lawson, please don't forget about him. Obviously, G.G. Jackson next season on a Grizzlies team that is looking around. They made a trade yesterday. And I don't know what Orlando was thinking, but the Grizzlies seem to have won that trade with multiple first-round picks coming for something named Desmond Bane. That's actually a good pickup for Orlando. I was just shocked they gave so much away. And we're going to see Colin Murray Boyles, who is right now flirting with lottery status.
Yeah, and just the idea of the NBA draft has changed because there was at a point, and we're all talking nostalgia, and we're talking about Michael Jordan in the 90s. If you were getting a lottery pick, that guy was supposed to come in and maybe change the franchise or take your team to the playoffs or be somebody that would make an immediate impact on your team. And that's changed a little bit. Outside of maybe the top 3 picks, anybody else in the lottery, you're expected to come in, make the roster, but you're either developmental or you're coming in to fill a specific role. And so, yeah, my old mind, when I hear lottery pick, I'm like, I don't know about lottery pick. But, yes, for today's world, yeah, he's obviously, and by consensus, a lot of folks are picking him there.
ESPN has an article up on basically the best players at certain things. Jeremy Wu wrote this. This is actually coming off of the weekend. He wrote this. It was published on June the 14th, and he writes best ball handler, guy that we saw, Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma, who's the number 7 prospect. Best shot creator, Dylan Harper, ranked number 2 in these rankings. Best pick and roll playmaker, Kasparis Jukanis, I can't remember how to say his name, from Illinois. Gave that the best effort I could. So you get the point. They're the best pull-up shooter, Ace Bailey, right now. You scroll down. Oh, here's Colin Murray Boyles, and he is listed as the best off-ball defender. Now, I feel like we're getting into the weeds a little bit. I'll be honest. I feel like we were digging here. But he's listed as the best off-ball defender, and I'll read to you. It says, a dive into Murray Boyles' defensive habits illustrates why some scouts are high on his NBA outlook. Despite standing 6'6" barefoot, undersized for a 4-man, he's a player who regularly makes the most of what he has defensively, due largely to his outstanding awareness, strong hands, and excellent timing. This stood out even in a losing season at South Carolina. Murray Boyles is versatile enough to switch positions and does a terrific job of reading and reacting to plays, whether it's rotating over for a block, digging down to swipe at the ball, or putting himself in the right place to act as a deterrent. Basically, it goes on to say there will be certain one-on-one matchups where his size might be a challenge, but Murray Boyles is a great bet to enhance defensive schemes and raise his team's basketball IQ on the floor. This is interesting to me because we knew Colin Murray Boyles was really – we've watched him, so we knew he was good. Did we know he was this good? And I don't mean in the recruiting. Did we or is he going to go down as maybe one of the least appreciated South Carolina basketball players to ever play here?
It depends on what his pro career ends up being. He will definitely be a guy where people are like, he played where? Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, South Carolina, huh? I didn't know that. We obviously will know him, but I don't think anybody else would have been paying him attention. And then when you start talking about his very specific skills that he has, and that's why, to me, when I hear lottery, I don't hear, oh, we're going to draft an off-ball defender. That doesn't sound like a lottery pick.
By the way, there's also a category for best on-ball defender as well.
That more so sounds like a guy. He's like, he's a stopper. He's an off-ball defender. Does it? But listen, that is a very specific thing that if a team might need that to get them over the hump or to be a glue guy for a squad, that is what has changed in the NBA draft. And also, the idea of you being an off-ball defender. That sounds like a long NBA career because you can do that for a long time and you just be like, oh yeah, that's Colin Murray Boyles, all off-ball defender. He's a great glue guy. The comp I heard for him was Al Horford, and listen, if he's able to have Al Horford's career, he will do very well.
Exceptionally well. And come home and have plenty of money.
Yes.
Plenty of money to throw out there. But that'll be a week from Wednesday, and we'll see where Colin Murray Boyles goes. And I think there's, again, a lot of people, especially our age, who are going to be like 3 South Carolina players in the NBA at the same time. That doesn't – and listen, Lamont Paris, whatever he wants to say, he's got 2 of them in the league. You can say, well, Gigi might have come here under Frank Martin. Well, Gigi was – Lamont Paris, when a recruit, and this is big, is he's going to try and turn this program around. Lamont Paris can point back to this dude. You see that guy, Gigi Jackson? I coached him here. Hey, look over here. You see this guy? Colin Murray Boyles. I coached him. So it'll be a big year for Lamont Paris, but he's got 2 big arrows that's going to be there when he goes recruiting hunting, looking to pick up a big-time prospect.
Yeah, and like you said, the recruits talk. They see those guys are in good graces with the program. You've seen Gigi come back. You've seen him speak very highly of Lamont. And I always remind folks, Lamont did not cower, right? There was some butting of heads, and he had to coach him hard at moments. Gigi seems to have appreciated that. They've worked on their relationship. Things all seem to be going good. So, yes, that's a feather in his cap for sure.
So we'll keep an eye on that. We've also talked U.S. Open. And I tell you what, Jen, the story of the week, I think, was the course. J.J. Spawn certainly winning it. But let's hear a little bit more from Rory on the difficulty of the course there, a guy who played it, the difficulty of the course this past weekend. Sorry, number 6.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You got to be on every single shot. If you miss a fairway, you're going to be scrambling for par. If you miss your landing spot, even coming from the fairways by a couple of yards, these greens, repel the ball into rough, and you're up against collars, and it just makes things, very, very tricky. So yeah, you gotta be totally on your game.
How do you compare that to a football game where you're like, man, we got to be on our A game? Like, how does that? Give us the translation.
Yeah, so Rory's basically saying, hey, there's no room for error here. We're going to have to make sure we don't turn the ball over. We're going to have to be smart with the ball, all of those cliches that he said, because the course is unforgiving. And you're not going to have a lot of room for making any bad shots. If you make a bad shot, 1 could turn into 2, 2 could turn into 4. All of a sudden, you're throwing your golf club and you're doing all types of stuff that Rory was doing. So I think he was very fair in that moment. But, God, still a grump. Good grief, Rory.
Yeah, he's just...
Eeyore.
I like this text comes in from Neil and says, Rory needs to take a page from Kirby Smart's book. Nobody wants to hear you crying from the yacht.
That's that's a great point, Texter. Like, Rory, chill out, man.
Tough weekend for him. Tough weekend for a lot of golfers, but again, it was really fun. And now we'll look ahead to the final major of the year over at the Open Championship in July. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. Somebody text in. Actually, I believe this was Steven who weighed in and said that all radio show hosts here at 107.5 The Game should gather at 6:30 for a podcast, 6:30 p.m. for a Jell-O shot challenge and see who the last person standing is.
Take the youngins. I don't know. Oof.
I don't know if I can eat.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, so we will debate that and also give you an update. Really cool story, actually, on how the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge got going. It's worth listening to again. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You got to be on every.
We're wrapping it up on a Monday morning where post-Father's Day, Preston, it feels like now we're in that period from Father's Day to SEC Media Day where sports kind of drifts into the background. You obviously have Major League Baseball. We talked about the Braves somehow striking out 15. Grant Holmes, not the Braves, Grant Holmes striking out 15 yesterday and still losing 10-1.
Yeah, I don't. Do you take the game ball from that? What do you do with that? I don't know.
Go into the locker room and you look at the other ones around you and like, what happened here? Yeah. But Major League Baseball, obviously this week, I think we wrap up tonight. Game 5. This has been a 10 times better series than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's been a great series. Really good teams. I go with the Thunder tonight. This is where I think the Thunder start to take control of the series. Game will be in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. The Thunder are a better team on paper. The Pacers do seem to have something, though, that has kept them in the games. Yes, they've been scrappy, resilient, however you want to describe them. They seem to have something that has made this into a very entertaining series.
So you've got that going in terms of sports, maiden sports still going on. Tomorrow night will be Game 6 of Edmonton and Florida. Florida up 3-2 in that. And again, that'll be tomorrow night. And then throughout this week, which I think has been fun so far, through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the College World Series, I think, has delivered. It's been very entertaining and very excited about that. And tonight, or this afternoon, I keep saying tonight, but this afternoon, Arkansas and Murray State, the giant of the College World Series. They are the highest remaining national seed, number 3. Murray State is the underdoggiest of underdogs, a 4 seed in their own regional, not even a 3 seed in their own regional, or 4 seed in their own regional. Murray State will look to keep the bid alive tonight and keep going.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see this. Murray State has been a very fun story. Those guys, this is a trip they will never forget.
Well, you say that. However, if you keep doing Jello shots, your memory can get a little fuzzy.
Well, yeah, and the Murray State folks are contending. They are working their way towards the board, but some forces are unstoppable.
If you've never heard of, you've probably heard of it by now, the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge that takes place every year. LSU is basically like 12-time champion in this thing. They dominate, and they're dominating. But if you've never heard of how this got started, it's a really cool story. And here is the owner of Rocco's talking about how the Jello Shot Challenge initially started.
The manager that was there before went to work for me, and they used to just make up different colored drinks in bottles for the different teams, and kind of a fun thing to do. And I said, well, that's good, but it's a little time consuming. We're going to get a little busy here. Let's do Jello. It's easy. We put some Jello in containers and we put it up on the shelf and said, we'll have some fun with that. Well, Arkansas shows up, and there was a guy buying 50 shots at a time and tipping the bartenders $50. So they decided, hey, we're going to kind of keep track on a napkin how many this guy's bought. And so we knew at the end of that little run there that they had bought 860 shots, which I thought was crazy. And, it's like, what the heck? I never envisioned that much. And so the following year was the last year that they did the old format where you played all week long, and then they took Saturday and Sunday off. They didn't have any games. And then they played the championships Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I got all these people coming into town, all these Mississippi State people on Friday or Saturday and Sunday with nothing to do. So I made up a little flyer and I hung it in the bathroom and hung it on the front door. I said, hey, there's a Jello shot record, University of Arkansas, 860 shots. And these guys took off with it, and they ended up buying 2,000 shots, which I thought was just incredible. 2,000 shots in 3 days. I could have never imagined that. So the next year I made a little plaque and I put it up on the wall, and I told my wife, I said, hey, if we get lucky here and get the right teams in town, somebody might, try to drink 3,000 shots in 12 days. So very first day of the series, we get Arkansas back again, and they went into the party room the morning at 9 o'clock on the very first day, and in 3 hours they had drank 3,000 Jello shots. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. So and then it just so happens that right after they play, Mississippi plays. Well, Mississippi hates Mississippi State. Mississippi State has a record. Arkansas has already drank 3,000. Mississippi State in 3 hours drinks 4,500. Now I got an issue. I'm out of Jello, and this thing's just exploded.
Really cool story there about how it goes from, hey, let's make different colored drinks, to the owner being like, yeah, that's going to take up a lot of your time to continuously make drinks that they might want. You can make Jello shots when you're not working in the morning or something, and then that's pretty much ready to go.
A-plus businessman. Changes the product, promotes the product in no other place but the bathroom stall, real true bulletin board material. He gets that up there. The folks start competing. And if you were not aware, LSU is still the runway champions right now, almost double the second place Murray State, putting up a very strong effort right now. Murray State putting up a strong effort. You have LSU 1, Murray State 2, Arkansas 3, Coastal 4. LSU with 13,552 Jello shots as of now. Yes, it has
gone up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that'll take place. Now the question will be, whoever wins today or whoever loses, I guess, does that fan base stick around? I can see now. This is where I can see Murray State fans be like, look, I don't know if we've got it. Like you said, I don't know if we're ever coming back here. This is maybe where we need to hang around and take in the whole thing because at least we're here with our team.
Yeah, I could definitely see them, and maybe them trying to make a valiant effort. Maybe the players can now get involved in it. They can maybe let their hair down a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But the LSU still has the big dogs to come in. Last year they had an influx of capital come in from some of their CEO alum, and they're kind of lying in the weeds right now. I expect that number to go up exponentially, especially if they win.
Well, yeah, like the true LSU fans, like we don't need the opening weekend. We don't need the opening game. What we'll do is we'll stick around to definitely in the winner's bracket, spend Father's Day in Baton Rouge, and then we'll show up and be ready to go. So we'll see where that leads us to. As we'll keep you updated on that Jello shot challenge. And South Carolina fans, we might have to look back and say, I believe, I would wonder what South Carolina, I don't know when this, I should have looked this up to see when this officially started. I believe it was after South Carolina won the national championship out there.
Yeah, even if it was then, a long time ago, the numbers have changed. The numbers have changed.
Technology's evolved, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. People's capacity has changed for the Jello Shot Challenge.
It's been a lot of fun. Look forward to doing it all week as we get you through. Again, reminder, we'll be off on Thursday. Friday, we'll be out at Liberty on the Lake for the Lake Murray Power Boat Run. So we got a lot of things going on. J.C. Sherbert tomorrow. Been a lot of fun today, Preston.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening.
We will return tomorrow morning. You've been listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, I-26 and